Relax, the keyboard is off, the press box is closed, but the mic is just getting warmed up as we fire on all cylinders as to what is happening with the Flyers. The show where the writers are fresh off the presses and the ink is not dry, and two of Lance's latest articles released just this week. Welcome to the Hockey Writers Inc. Join Lance and Steel as we bring you all the latest on the Flyers. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Hockey Writers Inc. starring your host, Lance Green.
How are you?
Oh man, I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I am ecstatic and ready for this show.
Oh man, I am too. I am too. I'm your co-host, SteelFlyers, and we've got a big one lined up here for you, folks. There's so much to get into, so much information, so much to talk about. There's so much. Oh my gosh. Oh my god. Jam packed. Jam packed. That's a good way to put it, right? Wouldn't you say?
I think so.
All right. Good. 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 Lance, my man. Uh, First of all, we would like to thank Jamie Baskow and the Flyers Nitty Gritty .com and their group. Jamie Baskow, Urif, and the whole crew. The Hockey Writers Inc. salute for the 20th week in a row for Bleacher Reports. I mean, every time we put a show out, it just goes right to the Bleacher Reports. It's beautiful, and thank you very much for the support. Really appreciate that. We would also like to thank our sponsors, Canine Country Club Resorts. They take care of all your pets' needs, from daycare to spa treatments and even pool time. Check them out on the web at www.cccresorts.com. Also, I would like to throw a shout out to um, a good friend of mine. Had his best friend recently passed away. He was a huge Flyers fan. He was a lifelong Flyers fan, for that matter. He was in his early 40s and passed suddenly due to a heart attack. This is a GoFundMe page for the Vince Mack family in South Central Pennsylvania. He was a lifelong Flyers fan. He leaves behind three children. All three of the children are under the age of 12 years old, plus his wife. Yeah, it's really sad. They are going to hold a memorial 3-on-3 because he also played pickup hockey. Yeah, yeah, he was a winger. He played pickup hockey, so they're going to have a memorial hockey game the end of August, a memorial 3-on-3 game to try to raise money. And what we'd like to do here is direct you to the GoFundMe page. It's www.gofundme.com/relief for the Vince Mack, VINCEMAK family. Um, Please help them out. They need all the help you can. Big, huge Flyers fan. Was always at a lot of games and was able to enjoy the team, and that was one of his big things that he really enjoyed. And so we would just like to have a shout out to that. And if you guys could please check that page out, that GoFundMe page, we'll put it in the information here and all that stuff, so you can have the link and all that. But please go check that out and please donate to a family that could really use your help. So thank you very much for that. All right, my man. We got a big one here. We got two great articles that you put out, Lance, and it's like it's like every week it gets better and better. And I mean, he gives me such great stuff to look at and read, and I'm so in awe of the things that I get to read. Not, I mean, just from Flyers Nitty Gritty and Jamie, what Jamie writes and what Sam writes and what the whole team writes, but I really love what you write and I love how you write, and so that's why we do the show. So we got two really awesome ones here, and the name of the show. Ready for this? Ready?
I'm ready.
What a difference 10 years makes, and should it happen again?
That is the question.
That is the question. I mean, you point that out in both of your articles. You address that very same thing, and that's why this was perfect. Perfect articles to do, perfect segues into exactly with what we're talking about and everything that's going on with the team right now and things that could happen or what they might need to do or whatever the case is. So,
Right.
Let's jam right on it, man. The first article that we're going to talk about was one that is just still dripping with ink. It was released today, bright eyed and bushy tail this morning. And yet again, Lance, you knock it out of the park, my buddy. And buyers or sellers, with the NHL trade deadline looming, what route should the Flyers take? Um, Gosh, man, I don't even know what to say on this. I love your I love what you point out. Just what the shortcomings of the current GM is dealing with and what he's doing. And what is he doing?
That's a good question. Um, Only he really knows, and he's alluded to a little bit in press conferences as of late. Um, but I'm kind of scared, to be honest, to what he's come out and said.
Yeah.
Any good GM, wants to believe in his team, and he wants to, put faith in his team that they're gonna pull it out of their hat, or whatever the case may be, if they're down and out like they are right now. But it, that's all well and good, but is it then a reality, of what the situation is right now? I think before this night's game, we're of course filming this as the game's going on right now, guys. So bear with us seeing this tomorrow. But um, they had a 13.8% chance to make the playoffs before tonight's game. So how much of that is really a rigmarole or a farce in a sense to propaganda to keep his job
Yeah.
right now, and then how much is it of actuality? And my thought on that is, guys, that basically there's not one player in the NHL, not even Ovechkin or anybody that could come in and solve all the Flyers' problems right now. Okay, so why go out and spend money and assets and first round picks and players to off the NHL roster to obtain a player if all that they can go out and get is the rumored Mark Stahl,
Oh yeah.
or Alex Goligoski from
No.
Arizona, like from Arizona, I don't see it. I don't see the purpose of it. You might as well just go ahead and tank and bring the kids up in my mind, if
Oh,
that's all you can get.
okay. All right. It's kind of funny that you mentioned that because you point that out so significantly in the article about the fact of the shortcomings of the GM and the moves that were made in this past off season and the moves that were made in the previous off season. Still, I mean, okay, I get it that the team wasn't expecting Niskanen to retire, but seriously, the fact that one player has such an effect on your team that you can't recover from that, like really, you're pinning everything on that. I that to me, that it seems like this team has regressed instead of getting better. Last year at this time, during the season last year, the Flyers were on a 10-game win streak and were about to come into the playoffs virtually as a number two, three, whatever. You know what I mean? As they were able to do so when they got into the bubble. Okay, so this team seems to have regressed. You
Agreed.
know, and look, I also agree too that wanting to bring in a much older player with a horrible contract. I mean, why? Of which in this article you mentioned two such examples of which players you would not want to see. You know what I mean? Look, I am so with you on this, and we have been screaming about this for weeks that this team should already be putting the kids in because what at this point, what do you have to lose? I mean, all you're doing is sliding further and further back in the standings because that's just more games that you're losing. You know what I mean? And you're potentially risking health issues on the assets that you do have that you could potentially trade and or move. You know what I mean? So, but
Definitely.
you do point out somebody that I think would be particularly interesting, and that player was Anthony Monta.
Yes. So with that being said, under that same mindset, I don't think that the team should go out there and use that, ability and all the cap space and all the assets on a guy that's only going to be here for this year. I don't think that the Flyers have a chance to make the playoffs at this point, and even if they are able to squeak in, what real threat are they going to be to the Tampa Bay Lightning, to the Florida Panthers, to the Toronto Maple Leafs right now that are just bullying over teams?
You can't even get out of
Uh,
their own division.
right. Essentially, the only team that they have an established good record against this season is the Buffalo Sabres, and they're the worst team in the league. Um, so I don't know why you would pump money into a team that is gonna fail you. But in that same token, I don't think that the Flyers should just sit on their hands and do nothing. Now, uh, using those assets to get better next season and beyond is where I would like to see the team take if they're going to
Yeah,
go
that
out there and try to make some additions to this team. I want to see them make moves that are going to help a team moving forward. And Anthony Mantha from the Detroit Red Wings, in my mind, is the perfect piece. Okay, the Flyers have some extra cap space with them waiving Shane Gostisbehere and essentially got a little bit more wiggle room out of that.
yeah.
So Anthony Mantha is somebody who is on their team's trade block. The Detroit Red Wings are, of course, horrible in nature again this season, and have a bunch of young, up and coming guys that are still yet to make the team. They
Yeah.
will get better, but their time may be in a few more seasons.
Yeah.
Anthony Mantha has been there for quite a while. He was a 2013 first round pick. He's now essentially 26 years old. He's
Yeah.
6'5" and 234 pounds, some size,
Gosh.
and he plays with some physicality that the Flyers
Gosh.
lack.
Wait, hold on.
Uh,
Is he a right-hand defenseman? A right-handed shot defenseman?
no, no,
Oh!
he's a big
Wah,
bodied
wah,
winger.
wah.
He's a big bodied winger
Yeah,
for
but
sure.
still, he probably will play on the opposite wing anyway, or on the opposite side anyway, so I'll take it!
Yeah, he can play both. He
All
can play
right.
both. He can play the point during a power play. He can pretty much do it all. In juniors, he was an elite goal scorer. He scored 57 goals his last year at juniors and 120 points. That was good enough for 2.10 points per game. Gentlemen, that is
Mm-hmm.
an elite goal scorer.
Mm-hmm.
Only thing is, he got drafted to the Detroit Red Wings, who are struggling the past few seasons, to put it nicely. He, even though he's been on that team with some less than stellar players over the years, he's has managed to score 20 goals multiple different seasons and had a 25 goal season in that mix as a NHL player. Currently this season, he has 10 goals and 10 assists for 20 points when I wrote this article, and he is signed for 3 more seasons past this season at just $5.7 million. It
For the whole
is
contract or for each year?
for each year. Okay, he is a first
Okay.
or second line player, but remember, we do have that cap space given the extra wiggle room we got from Gostisbehere. So, and essentially, we would probably have to trade somebody off the NHL roster to acquire him, as well as possibly a first or second round pick. Um, but that move would be substantial in a sense because you have to keep in mind
That's a known
that
commodity.
it's a known commodity. He's a proven NHLer
Yeah.
who has done it in the NHL prior seasons. You're not getting some kid that's going to develop or possibly not develop. He's already been there and done it for years now. Playing him and getting him in the lineup and lining him up against or with a guy like Sean Couturier, a proven NHL, award-winning player, is going to make him that much better. And those numbers he already excels at in Detroit that much better, rather than playing with the players he now plays with and lines up with.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, the only thing is you might have to move some cap space, but this would also create a non-transition period from when Claude Giroux retires or moves on from the Flyers, and or Jacob Voracek, who only has a couple more seasons left, but who the team could dangle out there this summer and not protect, seeing that he has no non-movement clauses or anything like that. He could be a Seattle Kraken next season, given the fact that they may need a veteran leader and somebody to help make the salary cap floor. All those are big ifs, but this is the type of deal, essentially, that I would like to see the team go out there and push to make. I think they are not just one player away, but this would be a big step in helping them move forward in the upcoming seasons, not just the rest of this season.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on that for sure. And that's one of the things that we have been talking about for the last quite a few weeks. That we would like to see the team do something not just for this year, but also for the future. Because look, let's face it, this year is probably not going to be in the cards. It's just
No.
not. You can't even beat the teams in your own freaking division. How are you going to beat teams like Tampa Bay or Florida or Carolina or Toronto for that matter, or even Montreal or Arizona?
The
Well,
list
how are you
goes
gonna?
on.
I
Yeah.
mean, gosh.
And that's,
Anyway,
yeah, most of those are just in the East. So
yeah, you know what I mean. And I'm picking some of the best teams in the league here. Arizona. And anyway, so I digress. uh, look, I think that the Flyers are more than one player away, but I also agree that more moves need to be done, not just for this year, but also for next year. Okay. And I also really appreciate that you mentioned the crop of young bucks looking to crack the lineup next year. And that's what I want to focus on the most because at this point in time in the season and in the year, if you're not going to do anything in the trade deadline, and I really can't foresee anything happening, then why not put some of these guys in and give them some experience? I mean, I understand you don't want to blow up the Lehigh Valley Phantoms or anything like that, but these guys could really use the experience, and why not?
So it's funny you should say that, Ron, because Steele, I just got done writing an article that is on the editor's computer inbox right now about that. So
Ah.
yes, yes, it should be out sooner rather than later, and yes, I agree wholeheartedly. I think that the team now needs to focus if they're not going to go out and make a big splash to fix all the problems that this team has, then let some of the kids come up and go on with it and get some experience in that sense. So, and I think the article that I should have out soon says that rather well. So,
Okay. Look, there's a lot of things that this team could do. There's a lot of things that this team needs, but I think the biggest thing is something that we're going to talk about here in the second half of the show because I wanted to just kind of focus on the fact that the trade deadline is coming up here on Monday. Okay. And we really just don't think that Chuck should do anything that's going to mortgage the farm to try to win for this year.
right.
You know what I mean? We've talked about multiple players that we thought could be of help to the Flyers, not just now, but next year and the year after and down the road. I mean, I wouldn't have a problem getting a contract from somebody that has some term that I know is a proven commodity, that I know is going to be here with us, for a little while and be able to bring something to the table.
Yeah, I would agree. I think also to that, would be a trade like Chicago just made today, where they were able to take on a bad contract or two for the rest of the season, just to also uh, grab a player that I wrote an article about some time ago, named Henrik Borgquist,
Yes.
and from the Flyers, from the Florida Panthers, rather. And I think that trade was amazing. Where they had the cap space, they were willing to take on a couple guys to help that other team out to go out and try to get some players that might help them more so than the players they got rid of,
Yeah.
and got one of their best prospects that basically had an ugly ending to with the Panthers anyway. So he was looking for a new home, and I think that was brilliant. At this time, at this year especially, you're looking at some definitely different times, and teams are not looking to always take on a bunch of salary and right now and term. And if you can make that happen and find some magical way to pull that off, and still be able to get a prospect or something that will help in the future, I would be okay with the Flyers doing something similar. um, if it meant paying somebody for just the rest of the season, seeing that their season is pretty much done at this point anyway.
Yeah, because that would make no sense to try to bring somebody in here with this exert. We can't. We don't have the space to do it anyway. So it's like, and that's the thing. The Flyers don't really have that kind of space to kind of, be making any kind of major moves at the trade deadline. Things that the Flyers need to do that are going to be major are going to have to happen in the summer or the
Oh,
off season or
for
during the
sure.
draft.
Yeah, for sure. That's where most teams are made at that point. It's usually drastic deals at this point. You could get something really nice for an absorbent amount, but it's few and far between when that actually works out. So I'd rather see them not rush a big deal like that, in a sense, unless they're going to get a home run, type deal.
Okay, so now that we are coming up against the trade deadline, and we did mention quite the plethora of young talent that the Flyers do have, that could potentially also make the Flyers sellers too, where they could potentially sell off some of the same type of player. You know what I mean? To the point where they could get another kind of player that would be, helpful to the team. You know what I mean? And I think some of those players are, Sanheim might be one of them. You're also looking to try to do something with Gustafson. I mean, there's just a plethora of guys that all are the same type of player. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I would add to that, possibly Nolan Patrick, who hasn't really, done it all while he was here. Often been injured, and they labeled Scott Lawton out there as well. I like him as a player, and I really don't want to see him go anywhere. But if a team is willing to overpay, then you have to look at something that could bring back someone that might help the team that much more, and maybe a right-hand shot defenseman or something like that, if a team has one so available. As far as Sandheim goes, it would hurt, but at the same token, the team has a plethora of left-hand shot defensemen, which he is. So next season, Igor Zumala could step right in, or a Cam York could step right in and essentially be his replacement.
Yeah.
So,
Hmm.
like you said, if the deal is right, I would be willing to move some players as well.
I would actually like, if anything, I would like to see the team kind of do some moves that kind of are gonna be part of the second part of the show. So that's kind of
Hmm.
what I think. So okay, I'm teasing it a little bit here. So that's kind of what I do. So
Yeah.
we're gonna take a quick little break here. We're gonna get a word from our sponsor, the www.cccresorts.com. They have a great day spa, a great WAGs program for your pets to be able to be there on a daily basis, on a weekly basis. They got an indoor and an outdoor pool. They can take care of everything you need for grooming and anything like that. So check them out. A word from our sponsors, www.cccresorts.com.
Explain all of the fun things that we can add on to their reservation, whether it be one of our packages, either a nature walk, a ball time, or even a cuddle time.
Oh, wow, that sounds great. Boy, it sure sounds like a resort to me. So, how are you today, Tracy?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Tracy, tell me, is it true that you guys have both an indoor and an outdoor pool at the Windsor location?
It is true. We've got one of each, so we're able to offer year-round swimming. The indoor pool is a great option for dogs who are swimming for therapy or rehab. It's got that sloped entry so they can wade into the water. Our outdoor pool is a little bit larger and it's 4 foot deep the whole way across. And both of them are saltwater pools, so it's really easy on the dog's skin and coat.
Wow, that's very awesome. So then during the summer months, you have a much deeper pool outside and then a sloped entry shallow pool indoors for the dogs. Tracy, tell the folks how we can get some pool time.
Well, the first thing everyone does is come for an intro swim. We use that time to make sure the dog is comfortable in the water. We make sure they know how to get out of the pool safely, and we go over all the pool rules and etiquette with the clients as well. After that, they're able to schedule private appointments where they have the pool to themselves, or they can invite friends and have a whole group swim going on.
So after a dip in the pool, then it would have to be off to the groomers, right? I mean, our furry friends cannot go out looking their best. Nicole, what are some of the great services your top notch groomers provide?
Our groomers, they specialize in full service grooms. We can do the basics, whether it be just a bath and a brush out or a blowout. Or for the extra pampered pooches, we can do nail dremels, we can do deodorizing soaks, and also facials.
Wow, man, that sounds like a resort if you ask me. Tracy, I know one of the main programs here at CCC Resorts is the WAGS program. The Steel Flyers dog is enrolled in this program. So why don't you tell the folks what is involved in this and how they can get enrolled?
Yeah, the WAGS program is our primary daycare option at the Windsor. It's designed to be a structured program for people who are looking for a set routine for their dog. They all come on the same days each week, which allows them to have set friends, and we know exactly what's going on with each group. So we do a little bit more activities and we build more into their daily routine there. But we've got other daycare options as well for people looking for a little less commitment. We do an hourly care where you can drop them off and just pay by the hour. We also do a day stay option, which is great for the dogs that prefer human friends instead of making friends with other dogs. And then we have a traditional daycare option as well if you're looking for the occasional outing for your dog.
Wow, there you have it. A full service groomer, a daycare program, and an indoor and outdoor pool. What more could you ask for? Sure seems like CCC Resorts has everything covered. Remember, DOG, depend on God. All right. Thank you very much and welcome back. That was a great word from our sponsor, www.ccc Resorts. So we really appreciate all the support that they've been able to supply for us and being able to support not only the Hockey Writers Inc., but the SteelFlyers All Sports Network. So thank you very much to them. All right, Lance, we got another one here to talk about, my man. And oh, this one was really good. This one was I I'm sorry, I have to say this. This one was just juicy. Okay, I'm sorry. I had to go there. It really was. Okay. Posted just the other day another great piece on flyersnittygritty.com. Now almost 10 years removed from the Jeff Carter and Mike Richards being shipped out on the same day. Is it time for the Flyers' next big roster blow up? Um, uh, Clearly, something needs done.
Yeah,
Uh, wow, 10 years already?
10 years.
Man, I remember that day. I was blown away when I heard that. I was like, wait, did I just hear the Flyers traded away Mike Richards and Jeff Carter? Like,
Yeah.
didn't they just raise the Eastern Conference trophy the year before, and went to the Stanley Cup Finals and all that other and okay. Oh, wow. What do you think? We're destined to do it again, aren't we?
I hope so at this point. I hope so. Yeah, back then it was yeah. Back then it was June 23rd, 2011. The trade brought back Braden Shin and Wayne Simmons
Yeah,
from from LA, and then we got Jacob Voracek and a first round pick that essentially turned into Sean
Couturier.
Couturier
Yeah,
out of Columbus. And I think that as much as it hurt to see a guy like Mike Richards go, who was a Flyers, captain and leader on and off the ice, I think Jeff Carter was a sniper. Those guys were just more interested in the off ice affairs than what was happening on the ice. And I think that the team and management thought that they were not good together in a sense, and essentially traded both of them, which now both of them have went on to bigger and better things, raising a Stanley Cup and stuff without us. But we got quite a few good players out of it.
Hmm. Okay, so it seems like the Mike Richards and Jeff Carter's got the last laugh because they're the ones with their names on the cup.
Yes,
So, okay, that can't be good. So, it clearly wasn't those two guys
right.
because they went on to win cups. So, oh,
Elsewhere, yes.
elsewhere. So, whatever you care or think about what guys do off the ice, that's what they do off the ice. That's their prerogative.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? When they're on the ice, then you can be concerned. But off the ice, what does it matter what they freaking do? I mean,
I
if
don't know.
if they want to sit in a freaking room with their legs crossed, right, and have incense going and listen to, I don't know, the sound of wind blowing in the breeze or whatever, when they're not on the ice, okay, that's on you, man. Cool, whatever, you know, whatever.
I don't
But
think that's what they were doing though.
okay, but I get you. I
We'll
get
move
what.
on. We'll move on. Yeah.
Right, I get what you're saying. Okay, so I really do think that okay, we got Voracek, but Wayne Simmons is no longer on the team. Hasn't been on the team for a couple seasons now. Um, yes, Couturier turned out to be really good, and that was awesome. Shen turned out to be a great player for another cup-winning team, not us.
St. Louis Blues. Yes.
Hey, this is kind of sounding like a broken record here, ain't it?
Yes.
The only guy left on the team, the only two guys left on the team that was part of that trade 10 years ago is Voracek and Couturier.
Giroux. Yeah. Well, yeah, and Couture. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Giroux was not part of that trade.
No, he wasn't. He was already there. And the
Yeah.
Flyers. I thought that's where you were going, where the
No, no,
people
no, no,
that
no, no.
were back then
No, no,
still
no.
with the team.
Yeah, no, Giroux was a rookie or just his second year, first year, second year
Right.
when
Very
all that.
early in his career, for
Yeah, yeah,
sure.
yeah. He was still wearing 53 or 2 or 7 or whatever he was wearing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, but I mean, most of all those players are gone, and this is what we're left with. And quite frankly, none of those players really amounted to really a hill of beans because we didn't win anything with them. We didn't put a cup or a ring on anybody's finger or lift a cup or anything. I mean, isn't that the end goal?
That it is. That it is.
And so getting rid of Richards and Carter, maybe that was more of a coaching thing or a. I mean, let me flip the tables here on you now, okay?
Sure.
We need to do that again right now, don't we?
Yeah, I think so. I think, with Drew, he's been with the team for 14 years now. The team, and Voracek has been with the team for 11 now. Drew is 33 years old, and Jacob's well into his 30s as well. Both former first round picks. Both are number one and number two on the team in salary cap. Essentially both making over $8 million a season, with Drew only hitting the 100-point plateau one time in his 14 years. He is a great player, but he is not that player clearly that is going to carry us over into raising a Stanley Cup banner. Not your Sidney Crosby's, not your Alex Ovechkin's. The list goes on. Steven Stamkos, all that. He's not on that level. He is more of a B level, superstar, um, which is fine in its own sense. But I think it is time to move on. During that time, the team has been through six different head coaches and has seen a total of 19 goaltenders start a game for the Flyers. Essentially, the team has replaced one after another of both these two areas with guys because it hasn't been working. But is that really fair? Peter Laviolette took the team to a Stanley Cup Finals while he was here. He's coached four different teams to Stanley Cup Finals appearances.
Oh,
Made the
also three GMs during that time as well too.
Exactly, that is very true. I didn't put that in. It was getting a little lengthy, as do most of my articles. But to that point, uh, Laviolette's been through the playoffs 10 different times, has over 600 and some odd wins. Craig Berube, who was the Flyers coach, went on and won a Stanley Cup with the St. Louis Blues. Uh, AV has won a Jack Adams Award
With a less
uh,
talented team.
with a
Craig
less
Berube went to
talented.
St. Louis
Oh, for
and
sure,
won a Stanley Cup with a less talented team.
for sure. And AV, he's won Jack Adams Award previously. He's made the playoffs 12 different times in his careers with his teams and has over 700 wins. Currently eighth overall in all-time wins for head coaches. Okay, should the blame really be on any of these guys that are so established? Okay, I don't know, but let's continue. As far as a lengthy list that of goaltenders that been there, most have either won championships in their home countries before joining the Flyers, World Junior Championships, gold medals, um, their own leagues in their juniors, uh, championships. Uh, some have left and went on to win Stanley Cups with other teams, Vesnas, multiple Vesnas for other teams, but yet all of which were blamed that they were the problem. Okay. I don't get it, guys. When is management finally going to open their eyes and realize that a culture change might be needed again, like it was 10 years ago? When is the blame going to be stopped being put on most of these other players? As far as defense, you can say, obviously, a lot of people say, oh man, it's the defense that is the problem. But in the past, who have the Flyers brought in, guys? We've had Kimo Timonen brought in from Nashville. We've seen guys like Hall of
Mark
Famer
Straight.
Chris Pronger being brought in,
Mark Straight.
who's won cups. Kimo went in and won cups after he left here. Mark Streit came in as a captain of the Islanders and played well here for multiple seasons. We have went out there and got Ivan Provorov, who's been here for the past 5 seasons, playing at a outstanding level. So when
Darian Hatcher.
Darian Hatcher was a former captain of the Dallas Stars who won cups or a cup with them
Yeah.
before joining the Flyers. So at what point are we really going to start looking at Giroux and Voracek as essentially the problem? Since that time of Mike Richards leaving, you saw, Chris Pronger take over the captain spot from him, but essentially, we all know where Pronger's career went. He got injured and had to essentially retire,
Yeah,
thus
shame about
passing
that.
passing it on to Giroux. But since that time, Giroux has took over as being captain. The team has essentially grown to be less aggressive in nature, not playing with as much grit, not finishing their checks. All previous, people being Mike Richards, Jason Smith, Darian Hatcher, Keith Primeau, Eric Desjardins, Eric Lindros, Kevin Deneen, Rick Tocchet, all those guys, all those captains before him, you did not see that culture change. They carried on what it meant to truly be a flyer. This not being the case with Claude Giroux in a sense. I
Yeah.
don't see him as being a leader night in and night out, uh, in that aspect that those players carried and played hockey, Flyers hockey, in a game night in and night out. I see Drew taking games off. He ends up every year with, a decent amount of points and to that level. But he takes nights off. He's scored 2 goals, not too long ago, and will go a couple of games without a goal or without a point, and essentially disappear. And I think that a team looks to that captain on the ice. A coach and a GM can build a team. A coach can essentially give a team a game plan, but a captain is a guy that these young players that the Flyers have on their team are looking to know what to do and how to play on the ice. For an example, and he's not leading a great example out there. He's not playing Flyers hockey.
None of the rest of the leadership group is either.
No.
Well,
Essentially, Sean Couturier, I think, is there, and Kevin
I think
Hayes does
Provorov
at
is there
times.
too. I think Provorov is there too, but I think Hayes is part of that issue as well too,
Yeah, he's
because he
he's six
takes
foot
nights
five and
off.
never lays a hit. I
Yeah,
don't I don't get it, and takes nights off. And essentially he was great in earlier on in the season, and then just since died off. And somebody getting paid that much money cannot simply do that. He need to be there on a nightly basis.
I mean we looked at JVR last year and was like, oh man, I can't believe he's making all this money and blah 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 blah, and he's been one of the best players this year. You know what I mean? And it's like,
He was, essentially part of the problem last season, but he really saw come playoff time, what AV system could essentially do and help this team, and he's bought in,
yeah,
as did Gostisbehere this
exactly,
year, and
exactly.
and they've turned their game
Yeah.
around, and it's really helping them in a sense.
Here's the thing though, okay? When you talk about, and this is exactly what happened when the Richards and the Jeff Carter thing, that was a huge culture change to the team. Okay, um, uh, so I think that's what needs to happen as well too. I think because they're starting to be, the young players are looking up to this leadership group, and this leadership group is not necessarily best serving the youngsters.
I don't
Okay,
think so. I don't think so.
okay, by allowing it to be okay to lose, by allowing it to be okay to not finish checks, by allowing it, I'm going to tell you something, man. I watch games, and not just Flyers games, but I'm watching Flyers games, and I'm very, very much paying close attention to the team and how the guys are playing. And I watch a player that there's an opposition player and our player are skating to the puck. Okay, it's like right about at the red line. Okay, and it's along the boards, and the opposition player is gonna beat us to the puck, right? But our player, instead of continuing to skate and continuing on to hit that player as a check, because now that player has the puck, even though because they beat you to the puck, I saw our player stick check and miss the puck and the stick and everything, and the opposition player is now going back the other way with nobody in front of him. Okay, and I'm seeing that on a nightly basis. This team, okay, where
Yeah.
players are not finishing checks. They're stick checking instead of body checking. See, that's why I think it's more than just a culture change here, because I think this system is not matching what this team is asking for, or do I feel that the fans are asking for it more than the team is? Because the team is expecting this to be the Flyers to be physical and to be built like Tampa Bay, or built like, you know, the teams like Colorado or whatever, where you have a balanced attack, you roll four lines, you got a couple of guys on the team that can snipe, you got a couple of playmakers, you got some pretty decent defensemen, and you got a good goalie.
Yeah. Yeah, I think partially, they made a mistake with paying these two guys the most money, and essentially they're the same player. They're both pass first guys,
Yeah,
and that's fine to have one of those
clearly.
guys, and Nicholas Backstrom definitely helps out Alexander Ovechkin and his right hand man,
Mm-hmm.
but it's kind of hard to do when you don't have that sniper to then put the puck in the back of the net when he gets a pass from that, pass first guy. Both these guys just want to play hot potato on the power play, and you shoot it. No, I don't want to shoot it. You shoot it. Gets old after a while. And if you ever been to a Flyers game, you can hear the Flyers fans screaming
You don't have
for
to
them
be
to
there.
shoot the puck.
You don't
Yes.
have to be there. You can hear it. In fact, what's really funny is that our good friend Jim Jackson has said it on numerous broadcasts about just how vocal the fans are about what they feel that the team should be doing during power plays, and so it's amazing to watch how, what I can't understand and what blows me away is how the Flyers have been out shooting teams like the other night, where they had 22 shots on goal in the second period and they didn't have anything to show for it. And it's like, what are you counting as a shot? Uh, does the goalie have to make the save? Does that count as a shot?
Yeah, it's tough to say. I think that's one of those things that is up in the air, and it really needs to be handled a lot better. I don't know what statistician is really in charge of all that, but clearly, like some of these shots are, leave a lot left to be desired for sure that they count,
uh,
and then other times they don't even count shots that could
that's
possibly be, on net. But I don't know. That's something that kind of needs to be done more computer driven or something. I don't know.
when I constantly hear the Flyers shooting the puck and hearing that loud slam of it hitting the dasher,
Mm.
that to me is not a shot on goal.
No, that's not a shot on goal. No.
Okay, that to me is just a winding up and I'm closing my eyes and I'm swinging my stick kind of thing. I mean, that's why I can't stand the dump and chase, because nothing ever gets established when you do the dump and chase, especially if you're not a team fast enough to beat the opposition to the puck and or strong enough to keep the opposition away from the puck so that your help can then arrive so that you can pass the puck off.
Yeah, I agree. I've never been a big fan of the dump and chase. Growing up, even playing, I had coaches that uh, eat, slept, and breathe that, and I couldn't stand it. Why you have control of the puck and you would essentially give it away for the chance to get it back, possibly deeper into the zone? I don't know. How about you just skate the puck into the zone and set something up?
Hey, looky there! You already got into the opposition zone. You already have possession of the puck. Holy
Yeah.
smokes! Wait, no. Oh, no, that makes too much sense. Can't have that.
Mm.
No. Okay, look. I I think that we're both talking about the same thing here. I think both of the articles that you talk about both tie into each other because I think there's some things that they need to do at the trade deadline that's not going to help them this year, but it's going to be more so that's going to help them next year. I also think that the team needs to do some things that is more culture change. Look, you can't just keep firing the coach. At some point, you have to get rid of the players because they're obviously not winning the games. Okay, if this is the system that you want to have in Philadelphia, this AV system where there's, okay, I'm going to get real poignant here. AV clamors for accountability, but I don't see it. He clamors for defensive responsibility, but I don't see it. He wants an up tempo game with a forecheck. Where the frick is that? Because I don't see that neither,
You
right?
can't have a forecheck without a body check.
If you're stick checking guys, how do you body check them? If I got my stick way the frick out here. Okay, so that's kind of where we're coming from, I guess. All right. What a difference 10 years makes. Should the Flyers do it again? We both feel that they should, and it's long overdue. We're This team has, and here's the really sick part, and I think this is going to be my last point. This team is not that far away from being contender because they showed last year that with a hodgepodge and a mishmash of players, they can make it. And if you have a steady goalie and a steady D, I mean, what do you think?
No, I agree. I just don't know where that right-hand shot defenseman is going to come from. I think they're too few and far between, and people that have them are going to hold on to them dearly. And the cost of obtaining one is just too terribly high. So
Yeah,
I think that that is one place that the Flyers would look to either draft coming up or essentially trade two or three left-hand
yeah, yeah,
defensemen that
yeah,
we have so many of in order to get one good
yeah,
right-hand
yeah,
shot.
yeah.
I think that would help, and I think the team needs a sniper for sure. Needs a culture change and maybe some new leadership in the fold.
Some new
Um,
voice,
a new voice
a
in
new
the locker
voice,
room
a
for
new
sure.
message. Yeah, for sure. I
Yes.
agree. All right, Lance, my man. It's amazing how quick the time goes by, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
like
for
it's
sure.
like you blink and it's like, wow, man, dude, we just covered two really awesome articles from the writer extraordinaire Lance Green from FlyersNittyGritty.com. Lance, how can we follow you? Where can we get you? And I think we did hear that there's some upcoming, right?
There is. You can see those hopefully soon at flyersnittygritty.com and or at my Twitter at LNGBASS, the number's 39.
Yeah, man. If you're not following this guy, you should be. I'm your co-host, Steel Flyers. You can follow me on Twitter at SteelFlyers52. Also, you can check out the Hockey Writers Inc. on the web at www.steelflyers.com/Hockey Writers Inc. Also, check us out on YouTube. We also are out on Spreaker, and we're also out on all the podcasting universe. So check us out on there. Please hit the like and subscribe. Thank you all very much for watching us. We would like to thank our sponsors, www.cccresorts.com, for being our sponsor. Thank you very much for all the great, wonderful work you do for all of our pets and daycare, grooming, and pool needs. Really appreciate that. Lance, thank you very much, man. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Yeah, anytime. Another great show in the books.
You got it, my man. Thank you all very much for watching. We'll check you out on the next one.